A very good morning to you all. I welcome you to Sarhad Junior College. I also welcome you to the first English lecture of this academic year. I know everybody must be excited as we are starting the 11th classes after a long break. I know everybody is familiar with English subject since you were in school. So I don't need to talk more about subject. I am Mrs. Shubhangi Shinde and I am working in this field of teaching since last 14 years in various institutes. I also teach sociology for 11th arts. I will be teaching English to you all this year and this is my second year in Sarhad Junior College. As we are starting with a new technique of learning, that is online learning, I expect you all to attend the class every time it is scheduled. I will try my best to make the class enjoyable. I assume you all must have purchased the textbooks and I request you all to sit with the textbook whenever our lecture is there. I want you all to read the book thoroughly after completion of each chapter. The material which is given online will be there for the full day. If you want to see it again, it is available on the classroom. We will be giving you class tests, assignments and activities time to time. So you have to complete it and submit it on time. In case of any query or any problem, you can contact me. You can put your comment in the comment box and don't hesitate to contact me. As soon as possible, I will see that your problem is solved. Now coming to our subject, today we will be starting with the first poem, Cherry Tree by Ruskin Bond. First, I will read out a poem for you and then I will explain it to you. 8 years have passed since I placed my cherry seed in the grass. Must have a tree of my own, I said, and watered it once and went to bed. And forgot, but cherries have a way of growing, though no one's caring very much or knowing. And suddenly, that summer knew the end of May, I found a tree had come to stay. It was very small, 5 months child, lost in the tall grass, running wild. Goats ate the leaves, the grass cutter shed, split it apart, and the monsoon's blight shriveled the slender stem. Even so, next spring I watched their new shoots grow. The young tree struggled, upward thrust its arms in the fresh, fierce lust. For light and air and sun, I could only wait as one would watch wondering while time and the rain made a miracle from green growing pain. I went away next year, spent a season in Kashmir, came back timber, rather poor, but richer by a cherry tree at my door. 6 feet high, my own dark cherry, and I could scarcely believe it a berry. Ripened and jeweled in the sun, hung from a branch just one, and next year there were blossoms small, pink, fragile, quick to fall. At the merest breath, the sleepiest breeze, I lay on the grass at ease, looking up through leaves at the blue, blind sky at the finches as they flew, and fleeted through the dappled green, while bees in an ecstasy drank of nectar from each bloom, and the sun sank swiftly, and the stars turned in the sky, and monsoon moths and singing crickets, and I, yes, I, praised night and stars and tree, that small the cherry grown by me. Now let's quickly go through the vocabulary. Sheth, a tool with a long curved blade at right angle to a long handle used to cut long grass and grain. In Marathi we call it as koita. Blight causing damage, shriveled, dried up, thrust, pushed with force, fierce, aggressive in this poem, blossom, flowers that bloom on trees, dappled, having dark or light patches, means here different color of leaves. Ecstasy is feeling of great happiness or excitement. Nectar, sweet liquid produced by flowers. Now, this poem is written by Ruskin Bond. I would like to tell you some facts about him. So, Ruskin Bond is regarded as one of the prolific writer of Indian writings. He is a well-known writer. He was born in Kasauli in Himachal Pradesh in 1934. He grew up in Jamnagar, which is in Gujarat, and he also lived in Dehradun, New Delhi, and Shimla. His first novel, The Room on the Roof, returned when he was 17 years old, and he received the John Llewellyn Rhyme Memorial Prize in 1957 for that novel. Since then, he has written over 500 short stories, essays, and novels, and more than 40 books for children. He was conferred Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992 for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra. This is a book written by him. He was also awarded the Padma Shri Award in 1999 and Padma Bhushan in 2014. Ruskin Bond, being a worshipper of nature, means a nature loving poet, he wanted to depict environment awareness among children. Means he wanted the children to be familiar with the nature. The poem Cherry Tree is about the poet's ecstasy over a tree which he seeded 8 years ago. Ecstasy means happiness and excitement of sowing a tree. He expressed his wonder at the ways of nature and how it takes care of itself to survive against all hindrances. 8 years ago, the poet planted a cherry seed and he watered it daily. But he was totally unaware of the fact that the cherry sapling needs special care to grow into a big tree. In spite of getting any special attention by the poet after planting it, the cherry sapling sprouted into a 5 months small, young, and fragile plant. Fragile is a weak plant, as its stem was weak. It was suffered from all kinds of external dangers. Tall, wild grass grew all around it. Goats ate its leaves. The grass cutter cut into two mercilessly. Its tender stem faced heavy monsoon and blight. Blight is a type of disease. But despite of all these obstacles, that is hindrances, that problems, the cherry tree had no intention of dying. It wanted to survive. By the next spring, means after a year or some, the poet saw three new shoots growing out of it, means small leaves were grown on it. The young tree struggled a lot for its existence, means to survive, and fiercely made an upward thrust, means it tried to grow up, to get light and air and sun. The young poet was the eyewitness of its struggle and existence. Means he was seeing what all problems the small sapling has to face. The cherry plant blossoming into a tree as the time like a miracle, means it grew like a miracle without any attention given to it. The tree grew too stubborn to give up. Then he left Kashmir to spend a season there. Means after some time the poet had to leave his house and he went to Kashmir, maybe for a job or studies, whatever, but he had to leave for some years and go and live in Kashmir. He was overjoyed to find a 6 feet high cherry tree at his doorsteps. Means when he came back from Kashmir to his hometown, he saw a big 6 feet grown up cherry tree in in his doorstep. A year passes by and the poet watched the tree in full blossom. It's after a year, even the poet saw the tree fully blossomed, means full uh, fruits and flowers were grown on the tree. So one day the poet lies on the grass and describes the wonders of nature in the sky. Finches, bees, crickets, and blooming cherry tree. Means once when the poet was lying under the tree on the grass, he was looking up in the sky and he saw many crickets and bees flying around and the cherry tree was fully blossomed. As the poet enjoyed the rapture of nature and felt himself a kind with it, means he was very happy to see that he had put just seeds in his doorsteps, and now that small sapling had grown into a big 6 feet tree and had blossom on it with many small insects and birds flying around it. Some birds were living on it. So he was feeling very proud of himself that he had owned his own tree. The small cherry plant that has grown into a big tree over the span of 8 years, means he knew that a small sapling had taken 8 long years to grow into a full bloomed tree. Now, what all problems does a tree had to face at the time of his its survivor? The cherry, in spite of not getting any special care, the cherry tree, just by its urge to survive, could raise its head, fought all the odds in the life, came out successfully to nurture itself with the basic necessities for its growth. The light, the rain, and the sun are the main necessities of the tree. With the passage of time, means with the 8 years long time, its hard work bore fruits and it became a 6 feet high, full grown tree which happily bloomed with fruits. And now, what were the threats in the life of the cherry tree? The cherry tree was so small initially that it was lost among the tall wild grasses all around it. The threats in its life were the goat which ate the leaves, the grass cutter's sheath that could split apart, and its tender stem which was very weak and couldn't fight with the heavy monsoons. Moreover, no special attention was paid to take the care and provide it with water and everything. But it was a fighter who could face all these threats boldly. So, the poet here wants to tell us that he wants to give us a message that the tree's resilience and its determination to grow despite of all odds, means the tree wanted to survive, so the tree was facing all the problems that came in its way. In the same way, humans too can overcome the obstacles, the problems in their life. They can face the problems in their life and become resilient like the cherry tree, strong and stubborn like a cherry tree. So, this was the message given by the poet in this poem, The Cherry Tree. Now, children, I would like to tell you one more thing. I want you all to make a 200 pages book for English, and some activities and assignments and small tests will also be given to you, so that you will write in this 200 pages book. And whenever our college starts, I want the book completed. So, in the next lecture, I will be giving you question answers and objectives on this poem. So, I want you to sit with your notebook and textbook for the next lecture. No incomplete books should be kept. So, today we will stop here. Thank you.